Why did your parents forbid you from racing?
Pure danger, logically. And the main concern was my crazy grandfather, who had a very stubborn, strong personality to say, you have to go in the family business.
Why would they care what your grandfather thinks?
Because my grandfather was so dominating in the family, he educated my father, and the family philosophy in these days was, the kids, when they are capable, have to follow the family's business. And this was the way I was brought up.
How did your parents find out you were racing behind their back?
In these days, all I did, hooked a Mini up the back of a normal road car, and I did this with a friend of mine's father. I asked him for his car, and he borrowed it to me. I went to Carinthia, where the first race was going on, and I raced there. I think I finished second or something. And then I came home, and then my father said, where have you been over the weekend? And I said, does he know now or not? I didn't say anything beforehand. And then I had to explain it to him, unfortunately, and he was really upset.
How true is it that you believe you wouldn't have as aggressively pursued racing had it not been for your grandfather being so against it?
True, because he gave me an extra kick to fight him, who was a strong man, to fight him for my own ideas. So it helped me to develop quicker out of this, let's say, Lauda, well-protected family business where everything was safe and good. Nobody had to fight for anything in our family at the time. And this particular fight I had with my grandfather, breaking these family rules and fighting the grandfather, gave me, first of all, the freedom to do what I wanted to, and pushed me harder to be successful in a way.
Explain how a bank told you you could move forward with your Formula One plans only to later back out of their responsibility.
I was driving in Formula V, which is a low-key formula, and had a bank as a sponsor. They paid me very little money, and they were happy with my performance. They saw the pictures in the newspapers, and everything worked well. And when I tried to go into the Formula One business, I needed something like $180,000 to pay for a drive with March. And the bank said, yes, we're going to sponsor you in Formula One. We pay you the money for sponsorship because we will have more exposure in the newspapers. And this was all agreed with the CEO and all the marketing people there. And I went over to England and I signed my contract with March at the time. And then when I came back, everything was signed. 3 days later, the bank manager called me and said, Niki, come please, there's a problem. Because in the supervisory board of the bank, we had to pass this sponsorship through the supervisory board because of the amount of money. Your grandfather and his friend turned it down. I said, what? So I signed over there because you told me I can sign it because you said the supervisory board is not a problem, and suddenly it is. He said, yes, unfortunately, nothing I can do. So then I went to see my grandfather. I said, why did you turn this thing down? Because I don't want you to race. I want you to be in our business, and I want you to see the Lauda name on the economy side of the newspapers, not on the sports side. This is the way it is. I think it's unfair because I work with these people long, and I think because you're my grandfather, you could have said yes. You said no, so now I have nothing. So, and this was then the end of my relation with my grandfather anyway. And then I had to find the money again because I signed a contract, and I was educated if I sign a contract, you have to fulfill it. So then I went to another bank and said, could he give me a loan? And he said, why? Because I told him the whole story, and you will never sponsor me because I had the other bank on my helmet. I said, yes, you're right.
So no longer were you looking for a sponsor at this late date. Now you're just looking for a loan
there was no
so
way,
you could fulfill your obligations in the contract.
There was no way in that short time that I find another sponsor. Mm-hmm. So I said, give me a loan, please, of this amount of money. And if you're unfriendly to me, I don't pay any interest for the loan because you have the publicity. The guy said, not a stupid idea. Went over to his bosses, said yes, but one problem we have, what happens if we get killed? Who pays the loan back? So I said, yeah, insurance. Okay, then sign up an insurance for the $180,000, then race, put the thing on, you don't have to pay interest, 5 years you have to pay the money back. So I just made it after my disaster with my grandfather to fulfill my contract and start in Formula One.
To what extent, if at all, do you regret never having repaired the relationship with your grandfather?
Honestly, I tried hard in the beginning. I was always friendly with him and whatever, but he was so different to me in his way that in the end it worked out as it was. I think it was correct. I went my way, he went his way. None of us gave up. These things can happen.
How much, if at all, do you believe he had good intentions and was just maybe handling it improperly?
He was a very old-fashioned, very intelligent, highly rated industrial man. He had nothing to do with racing. He did not even understand in his world what that means. Racing driver is a low-key idiot from his point of view.
What do you think he thought as you started having success
No,
in
he was
racing?
not there anymore. Unfortunately, he died before. So he never saw my development. And maybe in the end he would have respected it, but unfortunately he didn't see it anymore.
How much did your parents come around to respect you for the success you had in racing?
My parents then gave up to be against it when they thought that I was successful. The fear of my mother was always there to the end. My father handled it much better.